Okay, math guy back here on with the next video, and that is to find the quadratic equation, the quadratic equation. And with this, you can solve all your problems. You don't want to factor. You don't want to complete the square. You don't want to do all that. You just want to plug the numbers in, and give me the answer. So, all right, you're going to get it. And just so you know, usually when you learn stuff in math to the next level up, it's because your equations and your problems are about to get a lot harder. So, yeah, you're going to learn the quadratic equation, because you're going to need to use it, because you're going to be doing some stuff that you just won't be able to solve any other way. So, you have your basic form. ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, and you just want to know, come on now, I don't want to go through all the nonsense. I just want to know, what does x equal? Alright, and so your wish, you're going to get it. You are going to get it. So if you remember from the last video on completing the square, we're going to use completing the square to solve for x. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do here, you've got this kind of equation, is you want to isolate your x squared term. So let's divide everything by a. Alright, so you can see that that'll cancel out, and this will cancel out. So you're going to be left with, I'll move a little over here, you're going to have x squared plus b over ax plus, I'm going to leave some space, you'll have c over a equals to 0. Now, if you remember, in completing the square, what you had to do was to take your b term, and what you would do is put it over 2 and square it. Okay? So let's do that. We have b over a times 1/2 squared. So that would be b over 2a squared. And that would give us our square. That's what we need to add to complete the square. Let's do that. Let's add that right there. And then, of course, since we're adding that into the equation, we have to subtract it. Okay, to keep the equation balanced, so we added and subtracted the same thing. So now what this gives us here is a real square. The square root of that will be x plus b over 2a in brackets squared. Then we're left with c over a minus b over 2a. Well, let's simplify that. We know it's squared. Let's make this a little easier to understand. So we'll be left with b squared over 4a squared equals 0. Now when you're dealing with fractions, let's come to a common denominator, and the common denominator here will be 4a squared, and to get that, we will just multiply this term by 4a over 4a, and that'll give us, you can see that that'll give us 4ac over 4a squared. So we'll go down the next line. That doesn't look like a good A. Go down the next line, and then we have x plus b over 2a squared. And then we're going to have this whole thing over one term. We'll have 4ac minus b squared all over 4a squared equals 0. So we'll bring this whole thing over to this side. And then we'll have, again, x plus b over 2a squared equals, now when you bring it to the other side, the signs will change. You know, we have to, minus b will be plus b squared, so we'll put it over here. Plus 4ac would be minus 4ac, and it's all over 4a squared. So the next thing you're going to want to do, we have a square here. We're trying to isolate x, so we're going to take the square root of this side, and we'll take the square root of that side. This is easy. The square root of 4a squared is 2a. Right? You can see that. That's kind of a mess. So we have the square root of 4a squared equals 2a. So we'll be left with x plus b over 2a equals plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And now you can see all we got to do is move this b plus 2a over to the other side. We just simply subtract it, and let's just bring it up over here. So we end up with, here's the big final equation, x equals negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, because they're the same denominator there, 2a over 2a. And that is the equation that you'll be using the rest of your life, your engineering life. You'll use it more and more and more. You'll still do completing the square, you know, with simple equations, or you still might do factoring for simple equations that are quick and easy. You sort of get to know the ones that can be done, but unfortunately, you will be getting into more and more complicated things that it's just not going to be possible. And you'll be using this formula. Now, the nice thing about this form, if you look at the root, b squared minus 4ac, what this tells you right away, if b squared minus 4ac, if it's less than 0, you would have a negative in the square root. So x would not have any real roots. It would not be part of the real set. And I might as well inform you, but you know, you're gonna, in engineering, you're going to get into things where actually you'll still be solving it. You'll be using unreal roots. I'm just letting you know. You'll get into that. But if you're figuring out problems dealing with area, distance, length, and you don't have a real root, that means your equation doesn't have a solution. It would be like, you know, no possible answer. Another thing, of course, if b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, then you know you're going to have two real roots. You know there is a possible solutions. So that's good to know. And you also know if b squared minus 4ac happens to equal 0, you'll only have one answer. There's only one root, and it'll be real. But that's pretty rare. It would be by design. And when you get into control theory and different kinds of things, and you're working with variables, you'll get into all kinds of things. And in your problems that your teachers are going over, there'll be examples. That is the quadratic equation, and that is how it's derived. And now you know what life is about. Enjoy your journey into engineering, into electrical engineering and mechanical engineering, and enjoy math, for goodness sakes. This is some pretty interesting stuff, in my opinion. Like, comment, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.